Man show. Here he is. Woo! Welcome to the program.
What's
How we feeling? How you doing?
going on? What's going on? Good, man. Good.
You
Just hanging
coming?
out.
You,
Hanging out.
you coming to us live from the Lone Star State?
Yes, sir. I'm over here in Texas right now. We're at the studio. In the studio right now. Check it out. We're here at the spot.
At the
Yeah,
spot.
man,
They had to take a second off from the recording to join us on this stream. We're very honored to have you.
All good. All good.
You have one of the most fascinating career arcs in music
Yeah.
today. You went from genuine, serious business, trap music, and now you didn't leave that behind. Now you're doing both sounds at the same time. I don't think it's ever been done before. I don't think anyone's ever actually done this before. And I just want to know, how did you make the call to get from there to here? How did you come up with this sound?
Man, I mean, it really started when I was young. I used to freestyle in school with pretty much all the kids, and it kind of started there from where I was, rapping. And growing up, we listened to a lot of Southern rap. I'm from Dallas. I'm from South Dallas. So in South Dallas, if you're from South Dallas, it's a lot of
Still tipping on fofos.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Definitely. So we were listening to Gucci Mane and Lil Boosie and fucking Screwed Up Click and Lil Wayne, stuff like that, man. That was our stuff. So I mean, that's really where my love for hip hop started, was through stuff like that. But I was always more of a metal kid. I always listened more to, especially new metal. If you listen to a lot of my, I have rap albums where I threw in a new metal song right at the end of the album, just to see if people would notice it or anyone would hear that last song and stuff like that. So I was always into it. I always kind of wanted to merge them together, but at first when I had started, it was kind of just me. I was like, you know what? I wanted to start a band with some guys out in Fort Worth. So if you're from Texas, you know where Fort Worth is. South Dallas and Fort Worth, fucking complete opposite places. So I had these kids in Fort Worth I would go meet up with, and we would make Rage Against the Machine, fucking Linkin Park, style kind of of a band that we had. And we did that for a little bit, and they just lived too far, man. It was one of those things where they had their own ideas for the band. I had my own ideas. And eventually we kind of just separated. And I was like, you know what? I got a fucking microphone. I got all my shit here to record myself. I'm gonna just record myself. So that's when I started rapping. And that was an era where I guess you could call it SoundCloud rap. That was the thing with SoundCloud rap. And it was really easy. You could just record yourself in your room. And I had a homie who lived maybe 10, 15 minutes away from me. So I would record my shit on, what was it? What I record on, what was that shit? I would record it on GarageBand, my hip hop stuff. And I would take it over to him, and he would mix and master everything, and it would come out, and people liked it. A lot of people gravitate towards it. It got a lot of views, it got a lot of people, watching it, and yeah, dude, that's really where it started.
It feels like a lifetime ago now, but what's fascinating is that you actually ended up on one of maybe the biggest platform for SoundCloud rap, which was the No Jumper YouTube channel. How'd you manage that one? Where'd that connection come from?
Man, I think my manager at the time, had reached out to them, and they had gotten a close little relationship with, I think, Adam and all those guys up there. So that's kind of how that came about. And yeah, dude, it was cool. I still get people all the time that walk up to me like, oh man, I remember you from fucking No Jumper and stuff like that. So it was a time, man. It definitely was a time. It was a moment in time that happened, and it was cool to be a part of it. But with me, it was I've always been a person that adapts. I adapt to whatever is going on, whatever's around me. Not in a sense of oh, this is what's happening, I'm gonna do it. No, it's more I adapt to kind of what I want to do. Oh, okay, well, if I was doing hip hop, you know what? Now I want to have a band. Now I got enough kind of hype going on in the hip hop world where I'm I want to do something different. I want to do something crazy. So I kind of saw that there was a big scene kind of coming up, and what, maybe 2019 going into 2020, and I was you know what, this is because it's always what I really wanted to do. I had my band back in Fort Worth that I was working with, and the hip hop thing was more you know what, this is kind of what's going on, so I adapted to that. And then now it was I kind of saw a new wave coming in, and I was yeah, dude, I can do that too. I can fucking do it all. So
and I'm betting that a lot of the fans of you that were fans of you during your pure rap era, I bet a lot of those same fans love the rock stuff too.
Yeah, that was always my that was what I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to bring fans that never had listened to stuff like that into that world. You know what I mean? And I feel like I did. I feel like I definitely did. I see kids that were just at my hip hop shows, and now I'll see them at hardcore shows every now and then, and they're like, "Oh, man, how you doing, man? It's good to see you." And it's like, that's cool. That's cool. You know, I wanted to open up that avenue for people to where they could see that there's other shit out there too, not just hip hop. Because I felt like hip hop was kind of taking over, especially being from Dallas and from Texas. You know, it's not like LA where you go to LA and people have fucking their metalcore bands and their fucking hardcore bands, and then they have all these different bands. Now, of course, there's a huge scene going on in Dallas. There's a big fucking. There's a lot of bands.
What's really interesting to me is that for like about as long as I've been alive, rap music has been like king. It's been like the pop music world, and everything just is for rap. And then just in the last couple of years, it actually feels like rap music is on the decline. Like a lot of rappers are doing streams now. Like they're streamers. They're doing Grand Theft Auto streams. It's like, wait, what's going on here? Like, are you guys having trouble paying the bills? Is something going on? So I think it was like probably the right move to make. You made the right decision.
Yeah, man. It really wasn't that I made a decision because I saw.
It just came naturally.
Like it did come naturally because it was like, this is something I always really wanted to do. Like, you know, when I was young, I was with my uncles, and it's a funny story I always tell everybody, but when I was little, my uncles used to smoke weed, and they used to listen to POD, they used to listen to fucking Deftones, they used to listen to shit like that. And I remember as I got older and I smoked weed, I smelled that smell, and it reminded me of two things. It reminded me of my uncle and Deftones.
That's so raw. That's so raw.
So that's you know, that's kind of what I grew up on. And I remember listening to a Deftones song later as I got older. You know, we used to listen to Be Quiet and Drives and all that shit. But as I got older and I listened to it, I was like, wow, it hits so much more different. And I think like around like 2019, I was already kind of making demos for stuff like that. I was listening to Team Sleep, stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I want to make stuff like this. I want to make something a little more downbeat. You know, I wanted to up and just change everything that I was doing completely different. Like just change the trajectory.
That's funny because like me,
kind of come out of left field with it a little bit. Like, what the fuck?
People look at me as like the new metal guy, but in high school, before I'd ever heard a single Deftones song, I was going around. I was like, the Burprint 3D. You guys got to hear the Burprint 3D. You got to hear Writings on the Wall. Gucci Mane going on a run right now. Like I was way more into like Gucci Mane mixtapes than I was in any rock or metal.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
So it was funny to like connect with you over that. I was born in Dallas, by the way. That's why we vibe. That's why we vibe, because it's like,
you just told me that. So when I met you that one time, I don't think you told me that you were from Dallas.
No,
that's crazy.
I had actually. So
it was super brief. We met each other like outside of somewhere, and it was really brief.
So it's funny. I was originally going to do a new metal show in Dallas, and then because of some fuck shit, I got bumped off the show. They made it into another band show. And I had actually brought my birth certificate to the show because I was going to have it on stage and be like, it's good to be home. And I didn't get to go up there. I had my birth certificate. I was ready to rep Dallas like hardcore, but didn't really come together like that. But I did. All right. Well, that was Emotional Zan, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Wow. What a quick interview that was. It was good to have him on. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Our quickest interview yet. Definitely has set up a record for our interviews. While he's figuring out his technical difficulties, do you guys want to drop some questions in the chat room? I'm sure he'll be right back. Interview speedrun. I know. I hope he's okay. I hope nothing like happened. Should I DM him?
Alkahist has kept rolling for 24 months.
Woo! The big 2 years. Holy shit. I wish you had let me know. I'd have a cake. I would have had a cake ready to go. I would have had a cake ready to go for that. I was listening in the background. I was like, wait, what the fuck? It's over. No, I don't think it's over. I think that something must have just happened with his internet, but he'll be back. In the meantime, why don't we listen to some more of that song that we were listening to? Oh my God, I keep doing this. There's all of our DMs. Very unprofessional. So when we first got his music on the show, when we first watched his music on the show, my like first reaction is I was just like, yeah, this is sounding a lot like Deftones. And then he clipped that and put it on his Instagram. And I was a little embarrassed because I'm sure that the Deftones comparisons get a little old after a while. And, you know, once you listen to the music, you understand. It's more than that. It's more than that. But even still, it's like, can you really have that? Is there ever too much Deftones in the world? I say no.
Stay patient, hoe ain't new to this. I got me fucked up. Feel like the game been fucked up. I ain't been the same since I went cold. Now you might be the one get fucked up. Don't stick your chest out and fuck up. Overstep your boundaries and you bound to get fucked up. We don't do that friendly shit. They smile in your face like suck up. Play the game and you might just look up. It's a full-time job to lose my mind. I know you motherfucker.
Did you hear like how clean the transition was there between the rap break going into the breakdown? Like, you got to appreciate these things. We hear so much music now. There's so much music out there that it's easy to forget how talented some people are at things. Speaking of talented people, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Emotional Zen. I was
one thing about me, anybody that knows me, I never keep a charged phone. So.
Oh, is that what happened? I was like, dead all the time. I was like, what if his shit just got blown up?
I don't know how to use any of it. Yo, Kirk had to help me like even set up this fucking thing. I don't fucking do any of this shit.
Because you're the talent. See, that's the fucked up thing about the music industry now is you should never have to set this up. It should be, you should have managers. You should have a whole team around you, like doing hair, makeup, and everything. It's fucked up that you got to get this set up. But all right. Anyway,
nah, man, it's all good.
Anyway, so yeah, what I was telling these guys though is like when I first heard your music, I was like very Deftones. But the more you listen to it, the more you're like, there's a lot going on here that I didn't realize. So there's a part in on your Scarred EP, I can't remember the name of the song offhand, where you do an interpolation of a Glassjaw song.
Oh fuck yes, dude.
That was to me. I was like this. I was like,
so
this.
So
is
you know
ill.
what it was? I had heard it in Ginger Snaps. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the movie.
I'm familiar.
Ginger Snaps. There's a part where I think they're like pulling up to the school, and they're playing that song, and I was like, oh fuck yeah! I was like, you know what? I want that fucking riff. I was like, I like that fucking riff. So 100%, ode to Glassjaw. Fucking love Glassjaw. So
super
hell yeah.
raw. Who's doing it like Emotional Zan right now? Who's doing it like this? This is why when people are like, there's no good rock music anymore, I'm like, no, there's no good rock music you're listening to anymore. Shit is lit right now. Somebody had mentioned this on Twitter, and I thought to myself, like, yeah, we need that. So you do a cover of Creep by Radiohead, and it's unlike any cover of Creep you've ever heard in your life, for those of you that are not aware. And is it true you have not done that live yet?
Yeah, I've done it live. I played it live a few times.
You need to get me a good recording of it. I feel like
it was. So I had actually heard a cover like it from a dude named his name was Anthony Vincent. He's like those guys that do those fucking like Creep and the style
of Deftones.
7. Yeah, like shit like that. And I was like, man, I like this. I was like, we should definitely do like our own interpretation. As we throw like 808s in there and shit, and just kind of more fit to like the style that we're doing, with the trap parts and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, I had actually heard it from him. And what's that other guy? There's another guy that does a bunch of like different style covers and shit.
People send me those all the time. I never watch them. I'm like, this seems kind of.
They're sick, dude. They're sick. I like them. I fucking like them. Those dudes are sick. Because there's definitely people out there that are just good at like mimicking styles and doing stuff like that.
You gotta get me a good video of that though. We can have the internet going nuts.
I do. I got a few of them actually, so I'll send you one for sure.
Please.
I got you.
Please.
I'm gonna send it through.
All right, now I gotta zone. I gotta lock in. I gotta remember what the fuck we were talking about before you
Before
left.
I abruptly fucking cut out, man down.
So, you for a little while there, you had this really signature hairstyle. It was a mohawk, just a huge mohawk.
Big ass mohawk, yes sir.
And now you've moved more into the chino spikes. Do I see some blue in there?
Yeah, it's a little bit of blue. I don't know. I might turn that into black. I put it black so it looks like it's black growing out of the blonde.
So the Scarred now, is Scarred an EP or an album? Because it's long enough to be an album.
Right. You could call it an album. What it was is that we had those hip hop songs, and I was like, you know what? Like, I still definitely want people to know that, it's still something I like doing. So it's definitely something I still wanted to be a part of, the rest of the project. But yeah, like I do little shit like that where I'll kind of mix it up. I'll do, one song where it's like the mixture of the trap with the metal, and then I'll do one where it's just metal, and then I'll do another one where it's just trap. So I switch it up a little bit. I like to have a little bit of everything in a project nowadays, because there's fucking bands that'll just throw in like little random different songs in there, like Narrowhead. They had just dropped a project not too long ago, and like somewhere in there's like this cool like 90s, just like, I don't know, it sounds like more of a beat than it's actually like a backtrack, you know what I mean? So it's super cool. Like I like stuff like that.
I'll have to go revisit them. People have been sending me their music for a little bit.
Even like Deftones, if you listen to White Pony, they have Teenager in there, and Teenager's like a complete throw off from the rest of the album. So I like stuff like that where you can kind of throw them off and just.
Well, I mean, but that's like that is what new metal is. You have to, like, we take it for granted now, but you have to imagine in 1996 when Life is Peachy came out, people were like, are they covering Ice Cube right now? Like, yeah, like you can't do, like, who does that? You can't do that, but you can do that. You can do that, baby. When it comes to new metal, you can do that. So speaking of Texas, is it just me, or is Texas getting like a really strong rock and metal scene going?
Yeah, man, there's a lot going on here right now. Specifically right now.
I'm jealous.
There's like a bar. It's in what's called Denton, Texas. So Denton, Texas is like butt fuck nowhere. They got a Buc-ee's, so that's how you know it's butt fuck nowhere. But dude, they have this club called Rubber Gloves where people just get together like every week, and kids go every week. They pack that motherfucker out. So it's cool, man. It reminds me of like a 90s scene where people just can all come together and be at the same place every week and not get tired of it, not get tired of the bands and different bands playing. Man. It's sick, man. Definitely. There's definitely a scene going on over there, especially over there. Dallas used to have it for a while, but I feel like Dallas, like everything's kind of like everyone's scattering type of deal.
Which is tough because Texas is quite large.
Yeah. Even Fort Worth, man. Fort Worth, too. Fort Worth for sure.
You were, if I'm not mistaken, you just got to see Empty Shell Casing and Omerta, right?
I did, dude. I actually only just saw Omerta. I didn't make it to see the rest of like From Joy and all those guys. I didn't get to see everybody, but I did get to see Omerta. Those are some guys. So we did a show with them, I think, fucking 2019, 2020, 21. I don't remember, but we did a show with them, and my homie was geeking about it the whole time. I think he was my guitarist at the time. He was like, man, this motherfucking band, you need to check out this band. And I remember he had a certain way that he dressed, and specifically for the show, he fucking showed up dressed like he was a part of a SWAT team or something. And I was like, what the fuck are you dressed like? What are you wearing right now? And I see Omerta for the first time on stage, and they all look like a SWAT team. And it was cool, man. Gustavo's a bad motherfucker.
They're
I remember watching him live for the first time and thinking, motherfucker, I need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. That was how I felt.
It was cool. It was like energy that you haven't seen since like guys like Slipknot and fucking Mudvayne. Just that aggressive type of. You kind of just let it all out on stage, man. That's what I like about those guys.
I saw last time I saw them out here in LA, they were opening for another band, and I just had to leave after Omerta. I was like, that was the headliner to me. There's no topping that. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out of here. But anyway, can you introduce us though to your band, the members of your band? Who's all in your band?
Yeah, man. So I've always gone through a lot of different members, and it's never like a reason of like, oh, we fell out with each other and I just had to get different members. It was always some kind of little small reason. Like I had one guitar player, and that was like my really close friend. He showed me a lot of like punk stuff and shit like that's what we were into, thrash stuff and shit like that. And he ended up going to the Navy, so he went off to the Navy. The next group of guys, I think they were like best friends. They ended up falling out with each other, so the band kind of dissembled. It kind of fucked up from there. And then now I have two guys that are in their band together, and then another one was a homie of another homies, and it's just people kind of that I meet as I go. But the cool part is I've done maybe like 3 to 4 tours with them already, and you get close to people, so it's like they kind of become your brothers. So we're really close with each other right now. It's Dylan. I got Dylan. Dylan's on guitar. He's this kid who he has like his own fucking promotion company, and he books bands. He books a lot of the bands that are like the Empty Showcase, and he's like all the guys like that. So he's booking a lot of stuff. He's a pretty cool dude. He doesn't just play, he's fucking always out there doing something. So I like him, man. He's definitely dedicated. He always asks me questions. Hey, so when you were doing this in the industry, like, how did you learn to, cope with this? Or how did you know to move through this? And, he just asks a lot of questions, and he likes to gather knowledge, and he applies it to whatever he's doing. So he's just a smart kid, dude. And then we got his homie on drums, which is a part of another band that they're like kind of together in. And then we got Holder. Holder's pretty much Santiago. Santiago's the one that like records a lot of my stuff when I'm here.
Amazing producer, by the way. Amazing.
Yeah,
producer.
No, Santiago's amazing. So me and Santi were the ones that kind of decided, let's do this trap, metal kind of mashup thing, because we were listening to a lot of Linkin Park, and I was like, okay, when Shinoda goes into the fucking rapping parts, I was like, what if instead of
like
rapping
hip-hop
parts like that, I was like, what if we fucking did like the trap shit,
right? Because Shinoda was very much like Jay-Z and the Roots, and then you're like Gucci Mane and Paul Wall.
Yeah, so that's kind of a structure that we definitely dipped into. And I like a lot of the new stuff, like how everything's really complicated. Like it's not just like, oh, verse hook bridge, fucking verse into the outro. You know what I mean? It's not how it used to be. It's a lot of complicated shit that people are making. I like that. Like, I definitely like that. The newer project we're going to be dropping sometime this year will be a lot more stuff like that. But I've always been really into the verse hook type of deal. You know what I mean? Like
songwriting.
I grew up watching those music videos, late at night with my mom telling me, motherfucker, you better be asleep. And I would be, in my room with the fucking MTV on, and I'm watching Simple Plan, you know what I'm saying? And it's just too late. You know what I mean? Like, I love those videos, and a lot of what made that stuff is the simple structure of just the music. The way it was just the fucking hooks, man. Hooks matter.
While you were off fucking around or whatever when your phone died, we went back to listening to Save Me, and I was enthusing to the people in the audience. I was like, you got to listen to how much skill it takes to go from chorus to rap breakdown to breakdown back to a chorus. Like, that is not easy. He makes it sound easy.
And I'm doing that by myself, man. There's a lot of these bands that they have, like, they have two vocalists, and I'm just fucking figuring out how to catch that little breath right before I go back into a rap verse, or because those rap verses, they're long, and you let a lot of fucking air out. So by the time you get back to trying to do a screaming bridge, you're like, oh well, fuck.
And it's crazy because
I've gotten used to it at this point.
You've been putting songs out for real for like 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, feels like a long time.
So as someone who's like a vet in the industry, when was the first time any label ever showed interest in you? Like, how long ago?
Man, so that was I think it might have been I think it was Roadrunner. They were Roadrunner, or Atlantic Roadrunner. And they came very early, like super early. Like, this was like maybe when I was like 20, 21. And man, they showed interest. Pretty much were just like, hey, you sound like Gucci Mane, and you don't look like it, and you're Hispanic, and that that's fucking great. And they would come out to shows and shit like that. And yeah, man, just started building relationships with people really early on. It wasn't always just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try to sign to these people. It's like just building relationships with people.
24 years ago, Roadrunner would have backed a Brinks truck up to sign you. Roadrunner would have handed you a check and say, think of a number between 1 and 500,000. Like, they would have moved heaven and earth. These labels are too scared now, is what is, in my opinion, the problem, because they would have made that happen no matter what.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, there's you know, I always get labels, you know, trying to fuck with me. Definitely like once or twice a year, every year, you know, there's at least somebody trying to reach out. And the thing with me is I just never really found anybody that understood it. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
because it definitely is its own thing. It's its own thing. That's something I like to take pride in. I
Because
take
a
pride in that.
contract,
It's its own thing.
because a
It's its own thing for
contract,
sure.
that's a legally binding agreement. So if you sign the wrong contract, that'll fuck your whole career up forever.
No, yeah, it definitely does, man. It definitely does. I've definitely been in a situation like that. You know, when I was a lot younger, I was in a situation like that, and it is, man. It's just a lot of that's what sucks about the industry is, you know, you see like people trying to reach out to kids and tell them, hey, man, I'll put your music out over here. Just send me this much money, and it's like people are making scams out of, you know, selling people dreams and shit, and it's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's a really weird. It's a weird industry, but there's definitely great people out there, man.
It's
There's a
like
lot of
it's like what Chino said on Rock Superstar. A lot of snakes. A lot of snakes you gotta look out for.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. The majority of them, but there's some good people out there, man. There's some good people you meet in the industry like that. That whenever Roadrunner came, they had actually brought I'm not sure if you know who Riley Gale is. You know, Riley Gale is Power Trip.
Yeah, familiar,
all right.
familiar.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. Rest in peace, Riley Gale. That was a good friend of mine. And I remember meeting him, and he was like the first great person I had met in the industry where I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this guy isn't trying to like really get anything from me. He's not being weird. He was just this super down to earth guy that was like, man, I really like what you're doing. I appreciate it. And you know, we kind of just connected over just the stuff that we like. He liked a lot of old school hip hop and stuff like that. And yeah, man, that was a person who really helped me early on, like in the industry, especially going into metal, because what it was is I was only doing hip hop back when, you know, Roadrunner was trying to sign me. There was no metal at that time that I was doing. I wasn't doing any metal. And I had met Riley at, you know, one of the shows that Roadrunner had brought him to, and he was like, hey, you know, if you ever want to do metal, I could get a band together for you. I can help you figure this out. And yeah, I mean, I used to pick him up from his house like at fucking 8 a.m. He was a super early guy, and I'm young at the time, and I had just had a daughter, so I'm like, you know, I'm doing the diaper. I'm doing the diaper.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, hey, you know, Mom, can you take care of my daughter for a second while I go? You know, this guy, he's really trying to help me. And, you know, man, I used to get up 7, 6 in the morning, go pick him up. We'd go to the studio. We'd be there all day. And he would just bang out these fucking kind of punk.
Ain't no way.
You know, he thought, oh, no, he wants to do thrash punk stuff and, you know, shit like that. And no, I always wanted to do new metal. If you go listen to the Campaign side 2, it's my first I guess metal project that I put out. There's like a lot of glimpses of like thrash and punk and, you know, shit like that, but most of it was new metal. Like a lot of the tracks on there were new metal.
And then your
like,
first
that's what I really like.
Your first pure metal release came out in 2022. It's Numb, right?
Numb. Yep.
Then how did you settle on that idea? Like, well, let's just try something that's all metal.
Well, I guess I would say, so there was a song on the Campaign side 2, which was the one that came out before Numb. And that one had a song called Possessed. And Possessed was more of like that kind of, you know, that whispery voice, that kind of, I guess you could say that type of Chino vocal. And I really was into it. I was like, man, this is going to be the thing. I was like, this is it. I was like, this vocal right here, kind of going into those, you know, songs start off really heavy, and then it'll go into like a nice little melodic verse like that. And so I liked stuff like that. And I was like, man, this is going to be it. I remember when another label was fucking with me, I was telling them, I was like, they wanted my rap stuff. They were like, oh, what do you got with your rap stuff? And I was like, fuck that. I was like, I got this. I was like, this is going to be it. I was like, this is it. I was like, this is the sound. This is what you want to sign. And they were like, oh man, that's not going to work. It's just going to be another, you know, it's just going to be another like Deftones type of band and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what they were telling me. And I remember years later, you know, I'm touring, and they end up reaching out to one of my producers, and they're like, hey man, they're like, how's Zan? It's like, oh, he's good. And it's like, that Deftones thing really did work out, huh? Like, and that's what they call it. They're like, oh, that Deftones thing. Like, it's like, you know, that's what it is. But it's very much its own thing, man. I never, you know, I gained a lot of influence from Chino. I look up to Chino a lot, you know, just because he's Hispanic. 100% because he's Hispanic. I'm a big Hispanic I love my heritage. I come from this weird. I'm like this weird anomaly that I am because I grew up in the United States, but I also lived in Mexico for a long time. And I love Hispanic music. I love Hispanic music. I listen probably more to fucking corridos and tumbados and shit like that more than I do hip hop and more than I do metal and stuff like that because it's my heritage. As I get older, I start to appreciate it more.
Have you been jamming that Ladrones?
Ladrones, hell yeah. Yeah, Santi showed me that stuff. He plays it like before our sets. He'll play.
Shit is hard.
Yeah.
That shit is hard.
Yeah, dude. No, that shit is sick, man. We're actually gonna do something like that on this new project.
I want you to help me out here because what Ladrones do is they kind of fuse a traditional style of Mexican music into metal, right?
Yeah, so those are kind of like corridos tumbados, I guess you could call them.
Right.
And then they mix it into metal type of deal.
So many amazing things happening. Many amazing things happening.
That's what's cool about what's going on right now is that it's a renaissance, man, of a whole bunch of different stuff just coming back and kind of making a full circle moment. Like I've always dressed like this. I've been wearing FB County for fucking like the last 3-4 years, and you go to Zoomies now, and I'm like, you sons of bitches, y'all turned me into a fucking a Zoomies ad.
That is what's funny is it's like
it wasn't like that. Like I just saw my brother start wearing really big baggy pants and stuff like that, and that was kind of a decision I made a long time ago. I was like, you know what, I'm not as skinny and fucking puny as I used to be. I was like, I'm getting a little thicker. I'm eating good. I was like, I don't need to be wearing skinny pants anymore. That's just what I thought. That was my mentality. I was like, I'm growing into
when Korn
a different style.
When Korn did the Adidas collab and it sold out right away, I kept telling people, I was like, do you know how fucking weird it is that Korn is like a cool band? Like that used to not be true at all. Korn was not cool. Like even 7-8 years ago, that was not true. And now it's like, oh, I can't wait for the Korn Adidas drop. Like, what world are we living in?
It is
my world. That's whose world.
It's really cool, and I want to give some kudos to you, like just for what you're doing. You're putting people onto a time that they weren't a part of, and that's essentially all I ever wanted to do. All I ever wanted to do was give people like man, like check this out. Give people that nostalgia of, man, they can go look back at that and be like, wow, that reminds me of Emotional Zen instead of it being the other way around.
But then of course, hit them with that right hook of something they've never heard before. Like that was the thing about your song In Waves when I was listening to it for the first time, because I was obviously like, well, it sounds a lot like Deftones, and then everybody trying to get to it. I'm trying to be the man that I should. I was like, wait a minute, this has never been done before. This has never been done before, and I knew I had to really shift my way of thinking. That's why when people throw that accusation around, it makes me upset because, like, first of all, it's like, don't we all love Deftones? What, is there going to be too much Deftones in the world? Like, fuck off. And two, like, you're not listening to the music. You're not actually listening to the music.
I just think people like to they like to have an opinion. They like to be heard, and sometimes the way that they're heard is by dropping a funny comment in somewhere, or they think it's going to be a comment that's going to get a lot of likes. Like, it sucks, nowadays people would much rather have the most like comment than even just like your post.
Exactly. I'm always saying this.
Funny.
Like, once they started,
everybody wants to be the main character now.
Once they started letting us like vote on comments or like comments, that's when people started to just hate on everything, because that's the easiest way. That's the easiest way to get that attention, is to just be like, well, this actually sucks. It's like,
yeah, man. I never took that stuff personal, because I blew up off of a meme, kind of. It was kind of a meme. It was like people like, what the fuck? What is this guy's name? And me, I'm over here thinking it's the sickest thing at the time when I'm coming up with the fucking name. And the only reason I came up with that name is because Zan. My name is Alexander, so Zan.
Oh,
a lot
really?
of people call me Zan. And a lot of people call me Zan in high school. So it had nothing to do with Xanax. Xanax was like a thing at that time, but no, it never had anything.
You're like emotional me, emotional Zan. Like, that's
emotional
me.
Zan, like emotional. Yeah, might as well call myself fucking emotional Alex, I guess, or something.
Emotional Alex. You know what? It doesn't have the same ring to it. Doesn't have the same ring to
But
it.
Yeah, no, that's what Zan came from. Zan just came from Alexander, because everybody would call me Zan in high school, so it stuck for me for like years to come after that.
That means for years you've been explaining to people, like, it's not Zan. Like, that's not what this is about.
Yeah, I've had to explain.
That's so funny. I'm gonna have to start telling people that too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like y'all's fucking heads in the gutter, not mine.
Yeah. Well, who's doing? Maybe they're doing Zans. Maybe why are you thinking about that? Know what I mean? So,
yeah, bro, dude.
So how the fuck do we get you out of Texas? How do we get you on the road? How do we get you touring? How do we get you out to LA?
Dude, let me know.
Well, it's a weird time in LA right now, actually. Maybe not LA just yet.
Yeah, man.
But
yeah, my condolences to everybody in LA, dude. That shit's really sad, dude. Everything that's going on, but it's really cool how everybody's coming together over there.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's really helping each other. It's like, it's cool to see that, you know, if shit hits the fan, that people are reacting the way that they are, because, you know, everyone could kind of, you know, ball up into a shell and kind of not do anything about it. But man, so many people are doing stuff about it. And I know some friends that, man, they might lose their houses and stuff like that. So, you know, it's sad. It's hard. You know, all you can really do is just post, you know, stuff that can maybe give information to other people to help them. But yeah, dude, it's really sad. It's fucked up.
Yeah, if everyone knows,
I never thought I'd live through something like this.
Everyone knows someone that lost something right now. It's like everyone knows someone.
Yeah, man.
So anyway, though, there's got to be any discussions of tours yet? When can we expect you on the road?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I'll make some announcements here coming up soon in the next few months. But yeah, we're definitely gonna be back on the road sometime this year. So
have you guys performed?
maybe I think what I want to do is I want to drop some more singles. You know, we got a project coming out, and it's a kind of a precursor. Well, Scarred was a precursor to what this project's going to be. So this was going to be like a self-titled. You know, I always wanted to do. Everyone has a self-titled, so I always wanted to do my own self-titled. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just do a self-titled. And you know, it's gonna be me. It's that's why I wanted to just have a self-titled, because it's like, yeah, this is very much me. This project will be very much me. You'll hear a lot of different stuff on it. You hear a lot of different you know, stuff that we experimented with. So it's gonna be cool, man. It's gonna be really cool. But I'm gonna drop a few singles, maybe get the album out, and then jump back on the road. I'm really just locked in. Like, I'm here in the fucking studio all the time, fucking recording stuff and trying to get everything done, because I like to put stuff out as like a you know, like it's own thing. You know, I want to
put that work into it. You know, not just like letting some shit drop. Like, really put that effort in.
Exactly. Yeah, I like to drop stuff like as projects. Like everybody, I always have this conversation with other artists. Like, yeah, you always care about a project so much, and they all matter. Like, it's not just one that matters. They all matter. They all have their own little place in your history and stuff like that. So I definitely take my time with things just because I want them to be perfect. I want everything to you know, I want people to understand it when it comes out, type of deal.
Now, you recently were a part of our Christmas Fucking Miracle covers compilation. Thank you again for doing that, by the way. Honestly, thank you so much for doing that. You did the song Helmet in the Bush by Korn. You and your buddy Holder kind of broke that down into more of a trap sound, and it was a one and done. There is some artists that were on the comp, I'm not going to name names. There was some artists on the comp who, like, I had to give him some notes, tell him to go back and change a few things. Yours, though, that song came in and I was just like, this is final. This is amazing. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, I definitely wanted to just add my style to it, you know.
How'd you pick that song?
That's the one thing people say about, you know, new metal. It's and you hear it a lot. It's like a very it's like a quote that's said often. People always say, you know, no one ever did anything new. They call it new metal, but nothing's actually new about it. No one ever actually did anything new. And I just want to do something new. That's it. I just want to do something new, something a little bit different, you know.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
It was a really fascinating take on the song. And also, because the band Greedworm did Lies, I got to sequence the two songs exactly like they were on the original Korn album. I hope someone noticed that. Did anybody notice that? I do a lot. I work hard, okay? I work hard. Anyway, did you get to pick up any new fans through that experience, do you think?
Of course, man. Not just fans, but I think even Ross Robinson had said something about it.
Did he?
That was cool, man. That was pretty cool. I think he even he liked like a post of mine or something. And,
you know what?
Yeah, man, that was cool. That's the fucking godfather of all this.
So me and him were friends. I sent him the album, and he called me within like 20 minutes of sending the album. He's like, "How did you put this together? How did you find these bands? This is amazing. And I was like, are you saying like I'm a pretty good producer? He's like, you're a great producer. And I was like,
That's
yeah,
sick, dude.
I think
Sick.
so.
Yeah, dude.
But he said, he's
the
like,
man,
I
bro.
want to reach out to some of these bands. And I was like, okay, cool. But can you sign me first, maybe? But that's really cool to hear because I'm sure he listened to your song. And you're on his radar now, 100%.
Well, yeah, man. He wrote the original. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think he wrote the original Helmet in the Bush. So I'm sure he heard it and was like, oh, this is a cool spin on what we did one time. So that was cool, man. That was definitely.
You got to play that one.
Cool.
You got to play that one live.
Oh, dude, I definitely will. Once we're back on the road, I'm definitely playing that shit live. I love covers. I love to always throw. Like, I'm not sure if you know the song "Lullaby" by The Cure.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I know this song "Lullaby" by The Cure. Who do you think I am? Of course, I know that song.
That's another cover we'll be doing on the road. Another cover
raw.
I'll be dropping probably sometime this year.
Oh my god. Hey, I was gonna say though, is once you're ready to do the tour or whatever, I try to tell bands this. If you just put my logo on anywhere, I'll post about the tour. I'll post the tour dates. I'll post the tour flyer. I'll post all that shit. You just got to put the logo on anywhere.
Fuck yeah.
And
we need to get you to just come. We need to get you to just come DJ and fucking like open up every night.
Come on, come on. It's so fucked up how
you gotta do me a favor though. Your intro has to be ha 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 holiday season.
Holiday season, and then the explosion. What was one of the other ones? Was it like, what was another one of his drops? Hold on trap. I think it was Waka that did that one. Holiday season. I'll lift a few of those.
There's a siren, bro.
I'll lift a few of those and bring those over. That's so fucking awesome. Yeah, I know. I just have faith that one day the ship's gonna come in and one of these record labels is gonna get smart and just hand me a big bunch of money to make everything happen. Cause that's all it's gotta happen. That was how I felt. So when Sick New World got canceled, I was really upset because I can't.
What happened with that? Why did it get canceled?
It got canceled because the lineup was trash. So I was live. I was live the day it got canceled.
I went to the one last year, and the fucking lineup was great.
What I was trying to tell people is it was like you book Metallica and Linkin Park. A lot of Metallica fans hate Linkin Park. Like Metallica fans, you got to remember, Metallica were doing it in the 80s, in the 90s. Hardcore Metallica fans thought Linkin Park was like fake metal. Like, you know the Live in Texas DVD? Linkin Park's Live in Texas DVD, of course. They're opening for Metallica on that show. And if you look out in the crowd, you can see people in the crowd not feeling it. You can see people in the crowd not really feeling Linkin Park. So to book those bands as the co-headliners. Oh, and by the way, it's a new metal festival, and Metallica made the worst new metal album of all time. So I don't know what the fuck you're doing there. To book those two headliners and spend $5 million per band.
So yeah, I kind of just fell apart, huh?
But then the bigger thing to me is that they just did not book any new artists. If they had talked to me, I would have curated a stage. I'd have got all this great talent to go do that. It would have changed everything.
Yeah, last year was cool.
They had the hardcore tent.
They had Vane. They had Code Orange. Man, it was cool. It was super cool last year.
So I think that what happened with Sick New World was that they got greedy. They wanted to chase that nostalgia dollar, and the nostalgia dollar is not paying out anymore. I think people want new things. People want new bands. People want new music.
Yeah, they do.
People are tired of these.
They've discovered it, so now they want.
Right.
Yeah,
people are tired of the same tours, these same festivals, and like at the end of the day, I think people looking at bands like Metallica and Linkin Park are like, do I want to spend $800 to go to Vegas, or do I want to just wait for them to come around? It doesn't work. You know what I mean? So you were there at the second Sick New World. Were you there at the first?
Nah, man, I missed that one. I wish, dude.
The first one was incredible. The first one was like Valhalla. The first one was like a homecoming for the whole genre. It was like you had to be there.
It was like Deftones, Gojira.
No, it was Deftones, Korn, System of a Down, and then like Evanescence, Papa Roach.
I never liked System of a Down when I was young. I never really cared for it, and I saw them live, and I was like, God damn, dude. I was like, that's a fucking band right there. That's a badass fucking band.
They do still throw down. They hate each other, but they still throw down. The rumor, by the way,
I know. I was like, I thought these guys didn't like each other. What the fuck?
The rumor is that to try and save this year's Sick New World, they were begging System of a Down to play, and they said no.
Oh man,
it was desperate. It was bad.
Probably,
it was bad.
They probably didn't want to play it 3 times in a row.
Probably not. But we're gonna launch our own music festival. We're gonna do Agenda Fest. And it's gonna be to put the bands that are new on. I think what would be fun is to put the new bands on and then book some like really classic new metal bands that don't get their shine as headliners. Like give Seven Dust the headlining spot.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh hell yeah.
Like let me ask you, like who would you love to play with? Like other new metal bands that you'd love to be on the bill with? Obviously you should open for Deftones.
Oh.
You should be at Dia de los Deftones next year. I think that is such a gimme. Come on.
That'd be cool, man. Hopefully one day we can make that bridge.
No, ain't no hope.
You know, right now
The
guy on the guy that's one of the producers that's helping on this new project. He is like the road tech for Crosses, Deftones, a few of Chino's bands actually. So I think eventually that bridge and that gap will get there for sure.
But we got to do a festival. Does anyone have? How much could that possibly cost? We should do it in Texas.
Yeah, dude, you need to get like fucking Primer 55 on there.
Ooh, yes. Well, Snot. We would have to get Snot on there. That would be big, and we should do it in Texas. I feel like that would work for everybody. I would like to see some viewer questions for Emotional Zan. Someone in here, a big fan of yours in here, was wanted to know what's your favorite song right now.
Ooh, to be 150% honest, I really like Poison the Well, man, and it's 2 songs. I fucking listen to Nerdy a lot, and I listen to Apathy is a
Let's see if they get back. Oh, we might have lost him again. Rappers never keep their phones charged. It's just a thing.
It didn't die.
Oh, they're here.
It's lagging out. Something's going on.
And Poison the Well, is this new? I'm not super familiar.
With Poison the Well? Really? I guess you could say it's like post-hardcore. I guess you could say it's like they were in the era where like with Glassjaw, I guess they used to tour with Deftones back in like I don't know if it was the late 90s, early 2000s, but yeah, Poison the Well, Glassjaw, like they're about to do a tour actually, where they're passing through Dallas in April, I think.
So you also got like a love for post-hardcore, like At the Drive-In.
Yeah,
dude. Refused.
Glassjaw for sure, man, for sure. Poison the Well, that stuff. Hell yeah.
And I always loved that crossover between new metal and post-hardcore. That's some of my favorite stuff. I don't know if you knew this. Did you know Mike Shinoda once said that without Refused, there'd be no Linkin Park?
No, I never heard that actually.
He said that was so. What he said was, is he had the album "The Shape of Punk to Come" by Refused, and he'd A/B it with the mixes on Hybrid Theory to make sure it sounded as good as that album. He knows ball. Mike knows ball.
That's crazy. That's cool, man. When people can give props to other people, because I feel like one thing I'll offer people, anybody listening, you don't want to be the cool guy. Don't act like you're the cool guy. Like, oh, I'm better than everybody. I'm better than people. Like, you talk to people. Get to know people. Get to know everybody before you just write everybody off. And give props to people. If you fuck with them, if you like their stuff, give props to them for what they're doing and stuff like that. I hate people that aren't like that. People that,
well, then you know what?
Like, I've had a lot of people that kind of I wouldn't say bite my style, but will do little stuff that I'm like, all right, motherfucker, you weren't doing that before you met me. You know what I'm saying?
Like, oh, now someone wants to moan on a track. Now someone wants to moan on the track.
Yeah, for real.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna conclude this interview by doing that. I just wanted to say before we wind this down, thank you so much for your contributions to music. Thank you so much for your contributions to new metal. It's artists like you that get me out of the fucking bed every single morning. I wish you and yours the most success you've ever seen in your life in the next 365 days.
Thank you, brother. And I want to thank you too, man. Thank you for fucking giving a platform for music like this, because there's, like I said, there's definitely a renaissance, not just in the music, but in the way that people dress and attitude, the way that reminds me a lot of what it used to be.
You goddamn right. Emotional Zan, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, guys. Love you.
Have a great rest of your day and charge your phone.
I will actually. It's charging right now.